I caught my wife's secret lover, so I made her regret it in front of everyone. I always thought my marriage was unshakable. 8 years together, shared dreams, no secrets. At least that's what I believed. Until last Thursday night. Claire had told me she'd be running a late client session at the gym. But when I called her an hour before closing, her coworker casually said she left a while ago. Said she had dinner plans. My stomach dropped. Dinner plans? With who? I drove toward the gym anyway. But halfway there, I saw her car parked outside a downtown hotel. I almost told myself I was overthinking, until I saw her step out of the lobby, laughing, holding hands with a man I'd never seen before. I didn't confront her right then. I just followed, watched them walk into the parking garage, get into his black BMW, and drive away. That night, while she was in the shower, I checked her purse. Inside was a hotel room keycard. Not for that night, no. For the same room she'd apparently been visiting for weeks. And that's when I decided, if she thought she could betray me and get away with it, she had no idea who she married. The next morning, I acted like nothing had happened. She kissed me goodbye before work, smiling like she wasn't spending her nights in a stranger's bed. I knew I had to be smart. If I confronted her too early, she'd just deny everything, twist the story, maybe even make me the bad guy. No, I needed proof. Proof she couldn't talk her way out of. So I started with her phone bill. Her account was under my name, so I logged in online. That's when I saw it. Repeated calls and texts to a number I didn't recognize. Dozens of times a day. Some in the middle of the night while I was sleeping right beside her. I saved the number into my contacts under a fake name and installed a call recording app on our home landline, just in case she called from there. Then I checked her laptop. I'd given her that MacBook for her birthday 3 years ago, and she never once password protected it. Until last week. I waited until she went for her evening jog, then tried a few guesses. Her password? The date of our anniversary. I laughed bitterly. She'd used our marriage date to lock me out of the evidence of her affair. Inside her browser history, I found searches for weekend getaways near the city, how to erase location history, and most painfully, romantic restaurants for two. Still, that wasn't enough. If I wanted to ruin her lies completely, I needed to see them together again, on my terms. I reached out to my old college friend Jake. He's a private investigator now, and he owed me a favor. Within 2 days, he had her schedule mapped out. Every Tuesday and Thursday, she left the gym early, met BMW guy at the same hotel, and stayed there for at least 2 hours. Jake gave me photos. Her in his arms. Her kissing him in the hotel elevator. Her slipping out with messy hair and that same smug little smile. I stared at those pictures until my hands shook. But I didn't break anything. I didn't scream, because I realized anger was exactly what she'd expect from me. What she wouldn't expect was the coldest, most calculated payback I could plan. I started with the finances. Every account we had, joint savings, checking, even the emergency fund, I quietly moved my share into a new account under my name only. She never noticed. Why? Because I left just enough in there so nothing would seem suspicious. Yet, next I made copies of every single document we owned. House deed, car title, insurance policies, tax returns. If she wanted to play dirty later, I was going to be 10 steps ahead. I didn't stop there. Our house had 3 hidden cameras now, one in the living room, one in the kitchen, and one in our bedroom. She had no idea. I knew that sooner or later she'd slip and bring him here. And when she did, I'd catch every second. Meanwhile, I played the role of the perfect husband. I cooked her dinner. I brought her flowers just because. I even asked about her day with genuine interest in my voice. It was disgusting, but it made her feel safe. Safe enough to get careless. 2 weeks into my plan, it happened. I came home early, parking a block away so she wouldn't hear my car. Through the camera feed on my phone, I saw them, right there in our living room, laughing like it was their home. She kissed him, then whispered something I'll never forget. I can't wait until I don't have to sneak around anymore. That was it. The rage inside me wasn't fire, it was ice. I wasn't going to just end this marriage. I was going to erase the life she thought she could keep after destroying mine. That night, I called Jake again. I told him I needed more than just photos. I needed proof so undeniable that even her family would turn on her. We planned everything for the following Thursday, her next gym day, but I also prepared something else. A little surprise for her, and for him, something that would make sure their little love story ended in the most humiliating way possible. Thursday came faster than I expected. I left for work like normal, kissed her goodbye, and even told her, "Don't work too hard at the gym." She smiled, God, that fake smile, and shut the door behind me. But I didn't go to work. I drove straight to the cafe across from her gym and waited. Sure enough, 15 minutes later, she pulled into the parking lot. But she didn't go inside. She got into another car, his car. I texted Jake, "It's happening." He was already in position at our house, cameras ready. I followed them at a distance as they drove back to my home, our home. Through the camera feed, I watched as they walked in, tossing their jackets on the couch like they owned the place. They kissed, they laughed. She even poured him a drink in my favorite glass. That's when I sent Jake the signal. He stepped out from the hallway with his phone recording in one hand and the hotel photos in the other. Her face drained of color instantly. The guy, Daniel, started stuttering, trying to explain himself. Jake just smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'm not here to fight. I'm here to document." While they panicked, I pulled up outside. I walked in calmly, holding a manila envelope. Inside were printed copies of every picture, every text, every video clip we'd gathered. I dropped it on the coffee table. "This," I said, "goes to your parents, your boss, and the divorce lawyer. Unless you want to make this quick." She started crying, begging me not to ruin her reputation. Daniel looked like he wanted to melt into the couch. I leaned in and whispered, "You didn't think I'd just walk away quietly, did you?" Then I walked out, without slamming the door, without looking back. By the next day, her parents knew, her job knew, and thanks to a very conveniently timed email blast, so did every single one of her friends. I didn't just take back my life. I took away the lie she built hers on. The next week was, strangely quiet. The kind of quiet that feels almost unnatural, like the world is holding its breath. She moved out the very next day, didn't even try to fight for the house. I guess after the embarrassment I dropped on her, the last thing she wanted was to stick around the neighborhood where everyone knew her secret. I thought I'd feel pure satisfaction, and in some ways, I did. Seeing her social media implode, watching mutual friends quietly remove her from group chats, hearing from her own parents that they were deeply disappointed. Yeah, there was a certain twisted justice in that. But there was also this weird emptiness. 8 years of my life, just gone. It's like destroying a wasp nest. You get rid of the danger, but all you're left with is a hollow shell. A few days later, I got a call from Daniel's wife. Yes, turns out he was married too. Apparently, when she received the same package of evidence I had sent to my lawyer, she didn't hesitate. She thanked me, said I had done her a favor, and hung up. Guess we both got our freedom papers the same week. I've had people tell me I was too harsh, that public humiliation was immature or petty. But you know what? She didn't hesitate to humiliate me when she brought him into our home, used my things, and wore that smile like nothing was wrong. Sometimes, revenge isn't about making yourself feel better. It's about making sure the other person understands, without a doubt, that they can't just walk away from the mess they made without consequences. Now, I'm focusing on myself. I started running again. I reconnected with friends I'd been neglecting. And for the first time in years, I don't feel like I'm constantly bracing for bad news. Still, every now and then, I catch myself wondering, was what I did justice? Or did I cross the line?